On this episode of The Breakthrough Show, we've got two men who are following their paths and passions through faith. First up, we'll be meeting an incredible performer, singer, and songwriter, Troy Stone. We'll talk about the impact that music has had on his life, the impact he has had on others through music, and of course, we'll hear him sing not one, but two of his amazing songs. I'm also sitting down for a very candid conversation with engineer turned career coach Travis Robinson. In our chat, you'll learn all about how Travis decided to abandon his master's in engineering to follow his joy as a coach. The self-discovery, the relationships with others, the mindset, and more. Don't miss this incredible episode of The Breakthrough Show.
Life gives us moments when we have the opportunity to make a choice, and what we choose has the potential to change our lives forever. Join us now for another inspired episode of The Breakthrough. And now, please welcome the creator and host of the show, Jessica Dugas.
Welcome back to The Breakthrough Show. So excited to have you here for another episode today. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and The Breakthrough Show is the daytime talk show helping you change the way you look at and live your life through inspirational stories and, of course, entertainment. I am really excited about having a fabulous entertainer on to start off the show and to end it. And then coming up later on in the show, we have a fantastic guest, a new friend of the show. Travis Robinson is here to talk about his entrepreneurial journey and so many of the breakthroughs and things that he's learned in moving from a career that he thought he had to do into one that he's passionate about. So we're really excited to talk to Travis later on in the show. Coming up first, though, you guys know that I swiped up last season our good friend Kevin Kiley here on the show from a little group on Facebook called, I say little group, but it is not. It is a big group called Quarantine Karaoke. It had some fantastic entertainers in there. And when I heard our guest today sing, I thought, his music was incredible. His stage presence is incredible, of course, or screen presence as we're doing here during pandemic times, but his screen presence was incredible. And then I heard a little bit about his passions and his stories, and I thought that there's no better guest for the Breakthrough Show. Please welcome our new friend to the show, Troy Stone. Welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So excited to have you here. I love this opportunity that we get to connect with people online and then be completely blown away by them and their stories. Troy, I would love for you to start out by sharing with our audience something that's bringing you joy today.
Something today that's bringing me joy.
Yes.
You know, I try every single day to exactly do that. Find something that brings you joy. As a matter of fact, if you've seen any of the stuff on that, I found that site myself. I was scrolling through and I found that site, and a friend of mine actually requested me to that site, and that's how I found that. But it was a really cool idea. But anyways, if you've seen any of those shows, I always, well, don't always, but most of the time, I'll say, listen, whatever it is that makes you happy, whatever it is that brings you happiness and joy, makes you laugh, makes you come to life, whether it's a book, a movie, a music, or a friend, or whatever it could be, just find that makes you happy every day and hold on to it with all your might, and do that every single day. And it's an important process of life. I think you've got to find that joy and happiness, which I thank you for doing this, because you're spreading that for people as well. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today, I'm happy to be here with you and all your listeners. That's my joy for today.
I love it.
But that's my big joy for today. So.
Awesome. I love that. I can't say no to that. I can't say no to that. That's awesome. So what has your journey been like? How have you always been really into music? And if so, where did that kind of start for you?
Goes back along with, let's do the Scooby-Doo. Yeah, I was born, I was gifted the talent to play drums. When I was a little bitty boy, as a toddler, crawling around, my mother tells the story. I was about 2, 3 years old. She would be doing dishes, and I would come up behind her because she'd always have music playing, and I would use her as a drum. And so she would sit pots and pans and Tupperware and give me two wooden beaters and sit me in a corner and say, "Go for it." And that's where I started. Then when I was about 4, I got my first little Mickey Mouse drum set, and I played, Wipeout and Barbara Ann and all these stuff for my mom that she was listening to, and her friends would come over, and so I got bit really early with the bug of music. And the thing of it is I was very bashful, believe it or not. I was so shy, and she would have her friends come over and say, "Play Wipeout for them," and I'd make them sit in the other room. They couldn't watch me because I got all embarrassed. And so they would sit in the other room, and if they stuck their head around the corner to see me and I saw them, I quit instantly. I said, "I'm done." So, and mom always said, "What are you going to do?" She calls me Troy Boy. "What are you going to do, Troy Boy, when you get out there on stage? You're going to put a shower curtain around your drum set or what?" But I came out of that. And so, yes, I was born a drummer. It was a gift. Everything that I've done, I play guitar now, I play piano now, I write and sing all the time. Everything that I do, I've not taken any lessons from. It's all just been gifted. I play by ear. And I had this ability to, like a lot of musicians do, of listening to a song a few times and then being able to play it. So it's kind of, but it's a total gift. It's not me, it's a gift. And I'm just passing along while I'm here. So.
Yeah. What has that gift meant to you in different areas of your life? Like, has it helped you get through things? Because I've often said music has saved my life in many occasions, I feel like, and it's been such a passion for me. How has that gift played out in different areas of your life?
Music in general has a place for every emotion. So I had a pretty decent growing, my growing up, my family, I didn't have a horrible life growing up. I did come from a split family and stuff, but so that was hard, but it wasn't like some people might have it. So with music, I always found that connection that made me, if I was sad, I could go and put on my sad songs, and I could sit there all day. And that's kind of silly when you're sad to listen to sad songs, but it helps. It kind of is therapeutic. You're in that mood. So, and then if I was hyper, I'd be jumping around like you seem to do, and rock and roll, and so it has a spot for every emotion, and it's a good outlet rather than doing something that some people look to find that feeling that they need to release, to get that outlet. Some people choose wrong paths, to do that. And my path were, if I was angry, if I were whatever, I'd grab a guitar, I'd go to my room, and I would just go to town. Or I'd drum. That's a drummer thing. You beat on things. And then, and then when I was in love with the little girl that I saw in the hallway, I'd come home, there I was singing Lionel Richie or something. I was like, "True. Hello, is it me? Please." So that release, I understand you saying it saves a lot of lives. It really does. If you're into that and you can plug into it, it's unreal, and it's such a gift.
That's why I was passionate about bringing musicians on the show starting last season, because when I think about breakthrough moments that I've had in my life and things that I've gotten through, a song will pop into my head that helped me get through it, or something that helped me express myself when maybe I felt like I couldn't any other way. And I agree with you 100% that it can be that thing where there's a song for everything. And I am one of these people. I think I walk around with a musical in my head. Somebody can say one word, and then I think of a song and I start singing, and they're like, "Really, Jessica? Really?"
That's that you're on that sitcom that's on now. I won't mention the names, but everything's a musical.
Yeah.
Going back also to this healing, and it's worldwide. I mean, I've been very, very blessed to music has taken me, and I say this not lightly. Music has given me the opportunities to travel the entire world and see all different nationality of people, and yet these people can't speak the language that I'm speaking, nor can I speak their language. We connected through music.
Right.
And I also do a Monday through Thursday, when things aren't the way they are now, I have a healthcare program that I do, and I go in to assisted living facilities and nursing homes, and I'll sing to these folks, 50s and 60s, and love songs and country and just anything, you know, that they're into.
Yeah.
And I have seen over and over, I've done this for 4 years now, I've seen it over and over and over. Nurses come and say, you know what, she has not talked or moved or done anything until today, and she heard something. And so you're right, it plants in your mind. They remembered something. They remembered where they were when they may not know anything else, but that song, you know, remember that. So that's cool. It's powerful.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know that you do a lot of different things, but we want to, we're going to get to that in a little bit. I want to first hear some music. You're going to play a song called Care for us today. Tell us what that song means to you.
This song has a special place in my heart because it's always been there, but back when the big movement came of no bullying and all that stuff, and that comes in all forms, not just kids, it comes in workplaces and everything, but that's where I kept in mind, and then it kind of grew as I was writing it into more, as you'll hear the lyrics. This song is about what you're doing and what I try to do and what everyone should try to do, and that is to pay attention to people around you. And there's a lot of people who feel invisible, and they just want someone to care.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, here to perform Care is Troy Stone.
Thank you. See her every day, trying to hide her face again. She wants to run away from everything she's done and live. And no one understands. This wasn't in the plan. The words that they all say pound deep into her faith like a fist. She wants to change her ways as she takes the blade to her wrist. No one asked her why. She sits alone and cries. Where's the love? Where's the truth? I'm reaching out. I'm not finding you. Feels like a lie. Are you there? Crying out. But you don't seem to care. You see him every day. He's on the way to school by 8. He's laughed at by the kids. They push and call him names because of his weight. And falling to his knees, he cries, I feel like a disease. So where's the love? Where's the truth? I'm reaching out, I'm not finding you. Feels like a lie. Are you there, crying out? But you don't seem to care. Where's the love? Where's the truth? I'm reaching out and not finding you. Feels like a lie. Are you there? I'm crying out. No one seems to care. Oh, no one cares.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I'm so thankful for the mute button because I was singing along for a minute there because I have it on my playlist on Spotify, and every time I get in the car, it comes on.
Bless you for that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I make a whole playlist for anybody that doesn't know this. I have a whole Breakthrough Show playlist of all the fantastic entertainers that have ever come on the show. And of course, Kara is going to be on there for you guys, and you can listen to that. I want to talk to you some more, and I want to do some more music too. Will you come back at the end and do some more with us?
I would love to stay here with you. Yep.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk to Travis Robinson, and then more with Troy Stone at the end. We'll be right back.
Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences, raw conversations, one destination for it all. E360 TV.
Welcome back to the Breakthrough Show. You know, I love when we have guests on the show who are able to make a big switch in the name of honoring what brings them passion in their life and what they're excited about. And our guest today did just that. He came from the world of mechanical engineering, and it makes me wonder, how do you go from mechanical engineering to coaching? So here to fill us in on all of that and more, please welcome career coach Travis Robinson to the show. Welcome, Travis.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. I love your show. I think it's such an awesome idea. So I'm grateful to be a guest now.
I'm grateful to have you on. Sometimes we have connection conversations that are down to business. It's like, this is what I'm doing. And we could have probably talked for 3 hours. It was amazing conversation, and I loved it. So I was really excited to have you on today. Start out this episode, Travis, by sharing with everyone something that's bringing you joy in your life today.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. I've been putting some thought into this. This week I have been making an extra effort to do new things, and something very simple that was new this week that I actually brought me a lot of joy was I went to just a little bakery cafe here in town and did work on my computer there for 3 hours. And when you're working on your computer at home all day, every day, and you got nowhere to go, it brought a lot of joy to me to just be out in public and be able to see new faces.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was really fun for me.
I love that because we have to be and you and I think talked about this a little bit when we first met too. We have to be intentional when we're entrepreneurs about, the space that we work in and who we're surrounding ourselves with, because that's not provided to us as
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. We have to just do it all of it ourselves, and create. I mean, the beauty in that is we get to create the space that we want, right?
Hmm. It's the beauty of that, and it's also the hardship of that.
Yeah, because you have to figure it
If you're
out.
not
You
good
have
at
to,
it, yeah.
yeah, you have to figure it out yourself. So I know that you've had quite the journey, and I'm curious to know, because I know your journey, but the audience doesn't yet. When you were little and you were thinking about what do I want to be when I grow up, what are some of the things that you thought of?
Yeah, that's a good question. So one thing that I always thought I was gonna grow up to do was become a veterinarian. Um, but then at some point growing up, I got this desire to want to go hunting, and I still
Mm,
have never been hunting though. But
wow.
I kind of, but for some reason it just always seemed cool. I liked guns. My dad had a lot of guns, not a lot, but a good amount of guns, and so we went shooting, just target shooting
Mm,
and stuff a lot. And so I don't know, I got this desire to want to like actually go hunting, but I never did. But for whatever reasons, I think like that thought of me like wanting to now hunt and kill an animal, I think it kind of pushed me a little bit away from the thought of wanting to actually care for animals now.
mm, yeah.
So that's kind of a big one that comes to mind. Besides that, though, I don't like. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I never really um, was dead set on one thing. I
Mm,
never really thought about it that much. Which, yeah, of course, didn't help me when now it came time to make that decision. And the one idea I did have of being a veterinarian, I decided long ago that probably wasn't for me. So
yeah.
I was at a loss.
Yeah. So at what point did you decide, well, hey, I don't know what I want to do, so I'll become a mechanical engineer?
I purely looked at what am I good at and what is going to make me good money and provide a steady, solid career.
Mm,
And all throughout high school, math had always come easy to me. I've always been that student that helps other kids with their homework in math classes. And so going into college, you have to declare your major. And I didn't want to be a mathematician because that seemed awful. But I thought, what's a major that uses math but is a little bit more fun? And mechanical engineering seemed like that type of route. And my older brother had graduated in mechanical engineering some years prior. And so I kind of had a little bit of exposure to that idea already. But yeah, really, I mean, that's what it came down to, is just what am I
yeah.
good at and what's going to make me money.
It's so interesting because I was really good in math in school too, but I went kind of the opposite direction and was like, I was really into music. And so I was like wanting to using the math to figure out time signatures and how do I fit enough notes and and all of that. And so I kind of went that way. But then of course everybody's like, it's a select few that make money in the music industry, Jessica, you can't do that. And so that was, I think, some of the little voices in my head as time was going on too, to pick something more sensible. I mean, I imagine getting into something like engineering, you have to like the classroom.
Yeah. No, I mean, to some extent, yeah. I think that I've always had this ability or desire to, I really enjoy doing things that most people wouldn't do.
Mm,
And like in high school, I did wrestling, and I took pride in the fact that I could drop 8 pounds in one night because I would be just I would go home after 2 hours of practice already and go run on the treadmill with a sweatshirt and sweats on and shed off all this water weight. And I took pride in that I could drop all this weight overnight. And I've just, for whatever reasons, I've always had that desire, and I felt like I think mechanical engineering was kind of that same thing,
mm.
where most people do view it as something difficult to go through. So I kind of took pride in that, even though maybe I wasn't necessarily enjoying it throughout the process.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense that there's some people that are just, my husband's that way too, very driven for, he's the provider. He wants to be
Mhm.
like the rock and make sure he's making the money and all of that. And I see sometimes, he's finally getting, I mean, he's married to me. So he's finally getting to the point though where he's sticking up for himself a little bit and not wanting to sacrifice his happiness so much for the paycheck kind of
Mhm.
thing. And because I'm just the type that I'd be happy to, if I'm changing the world and I'm living in a box on the street, I'm great. I'm doing good. But he's like, no, we don't do that. we have to have a paycheck and we have to do all of that stuff. And so I imagine at some point you had to get kind of burnt out if you were just doing it to make the check or to be the provider. At what point did you get to of where you maybe realized that this isn't exactly what I want to be doing?
Well, to answer your exact question of at what point did I realize that's not what I want to be doing, pretty early on,
Yeah.
probably. I mean, multiple times I had, I don't know if mental breakdown, that's probably an exaggeration,
Let's talk about that.
but more of just kind of like a quarter life crisis of, like, what am I doing with my life? And like, I'm not enjoying this, but I don't know what else I would even do. And I would call my brother, who, like I said, graduated in mechanical engineering. I would call him very often and basically complain to him about what I was, the thoughts that were going through my mind and how I wasn't enjoying it. And I felt like I didn't fit in with the engineering students in that community. And really, I think I was just looking for him to make the decision for me,
Mm,
which obviously he can't. Because I wanted to be able to have, subconsciously, you want to be able to blame someone else if they
right.
make that decision and now it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
but he was good and didn't make that decision for me, so I can't blame him for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's normal for us as humans to, because it's hard to make those choices. Even every decision we make as entrepreneurs, you know, we're the one that's responsible at the end of the day. And
Yeah,
being the solo person in your little office that you've made. And,
yeah,
and so I think it can be easy to just be like, listen, I just want somebody to choose for me and then we'll be fine because if it's bad, then it's not my fault. It's
yeah.
easier that way. So like I think most people it can be easier to make that leap if they have something else in mind that they know that they want to do. Did you know, like when you knew that early on that the engineering wasn't for you, did you know that there was something else absolutely that you wanted to do, or were you not sure at the time?
Yeah, I wasn't sure at the time, but the whole thoughts that, like, I never, nobody really ever asked me like, what do you really enjoy doing?
Hmm.
And so my whole thought process going through my bachelor's degree basically was, mechanical engineering is a broad industry, and even though I don't enjoy it right now, there's got to be a chance that I'll find something at some point that I enjoy doing.
Right.
And that's just kind of what got me through it, was telling myself, like, as time passes, I'll find something eventually. And I think that's the biggest lie that we tell ourselves as young people, especially. Like, a lot of people tell me, like, oh, why don't you coach people that are like in college or just out of college? Because I'm 25, I'm fairly young, and why don't I coach people that are more closer to my age? And I say, because at that age, you haven't been miserable long enough to realize
It's true.
to realize that time's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
And so you get these people now that are in their 30s, their 40s, and now they start to realize, oh crap, I've been doing this for 15, 20 years. I've changed multiple companies. I've had different jobs, and I'm still miserable.
Mm, yeah.
And
And
I didn't
and
want to
that,
get to that point for myself. So
right. And that's, I mean, the sad part of that is it's pretty normal.
yeah.
We see that all of the time. And I think people, I mean, you tell me, why do you think people allow themselves to get to the place of where they completely are not doing something that they're passionate about?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. I think for one, this idea of consistency in our
Mm.
life, that once we start on a path, we start rationalizing and coming up with these reasons, excuses, whatever you want to call it, to stay consistent with what we've decided to start on. And
Mhm.
so at a young age, at 18, 19 years old, you're told you need to pick a major, you need to figure out what you're going to do with your life. And so you pick something, and now you are on this journey, and it's hard to go against what this decision that you've made. And I remember I experienced that for myself, where I was getting close to graduation and I knew that I was planning on going to start my master's in mechanical engineering, even though I knew that it wasn't the right path for me. And we can get into that in a little bit. But I remember this guy coming up to me when I was working on homework on campus, and this guy came up to me, and I think he was doing a survey for his business class or something, and he was very entrepreneurial minded. Like now that I especially look back and I've been around entrepreneurs, he was very open minded and questioned things. He didn't just take things for granted. Anyways, he questioned me in why I was doing a master's program and what it was really going to do for my life. And I remember feeling so defensive, right? Because I'm
Mm.
like, oh, how, kind of how dare you question me trying to be consistent with what I'm doing, and
Yeah.
being a good little boy and doing his thing of getting a master's so he can be successful. And I've since now looked back on that, and I wish now I would have interacted with that guy a lot differently,
Mm.
because he had the right mindset of just question things. It's okay to question why you're being consistent with your career or your path in life.
Right. I think so much of this, and I want to get into this with you as well, of what your experience was. So much of this is because we want to please other people, or we or other people have this idea for our lives of what it's supposed to look like.
Sure.
And we don't want to let people down. We want to, especially our spouse, our parents, if we have the good relationships with those people. And I think it's really easy for us to just say, well, this is what you're supposed to do, and so I'm just going to do that. And it's all of these external expectations that become over
Yep.
time our expectations for ourselves. What has been your experience with that, as far as like through this whole process of figuring it out, and like people that have been supportive for you or have not been supportive of you?
Yeah, that is a very good point, because that is a big deal. I think that in my experience, I've had people that have been proud of me, or at least on the surface, they're proud of me for making this decision. And then there are people, and my parents weren't the happiest when I called them and told them that I dropped out of this master's program. And so, what I realized for myself is that I'm very confident that I can find success in whatever I do. And for myself, I knew for a fact that if I'm in a career that's making me unhappy, it's going to negatively affect all other areas of my life. And so I actually looked at it from a perspective of I'm hurting my relationship with my wife, I'm hurting my relationship with my friends, my family, if I if I'm not happy in my career. And I should take responsibility and and take the action that I need to find that for myself, to find that fulfillment, that happiness. Because just in this year of me being a career coach, the fire that is lit inside of me because I'm doing something that I enjoy and that I love, it makes me want to be a better husband, makes me want to be, a better friend, makes me want to exercise more and eat healthier. And it elevates all other areas of my life. And so that was kind of my rationale when, yeah, I mean, not everybody agrees with what I'm doing. And I still get people sometimes that will say like, oh, why don't you go back to school and get a master's in psychology or something and become a therapist. And I don't know, maybe that could be an option. but right now I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And so but I feel like, people are still kind of like wanting me to fall back into the flow of things, stop going against the grain, and like get back into that typical flow where everything's
Yeah.
safe, everything's comfortable, and you're like guaranteed a paycheck, and all
Right.
those kind of thoughts.
It can be hard for, especially with the older generations, to see anything outside of tradition, because, like you said, they want that safety and security for themselves. So of course they want that for you as well, and that's what they see as safe and secure. Whereas I very similar to you. When I'm doing what I love to do, I'm a better mom. I'm a better wife. I'm a better friend. I show up better for myself, period, at the end of the day. And when I do that, I can show up better for other people. So that fuels me as well too. But I think it can be hard for people to see outside of, like, when my grandfather didn't mean anything by, the music industry isn't for everyone. He didn't mean that I wasn't a good musician. He didn't mean that I wasn't good at what I did. He just meant that felt unsafe to him,
Mhm.
to be able to go into something like that, where to him there is no guarantee. But we see all the time, especially in 2020, that even with the traditional type jobs, there is no guarantee there either.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I
we've seen
totally
that
agree.
this year. We've seen that
I've,
a lot.
yeah, I mean, I've always kind of viewed it as kind of you know, you give a man a fish, feed him for a day, or teach a man to fish, feed him for life, kind of thing. And with entrepreneurship, or not even with entrepreneurship, but just having the perspective that you are responsible, that you have much more control over your life than you think.
Mm,
That's coming from a perspective um, of optimism and sufficiency, that whatever happens, you can provide for yourself, for your family, and it gives you the control back in your life.
mm,
And you're able to go and fish and feed your family, or you can come from that perspective of you're at the mercy of the job market, and whether you qualify or not qualify for a job, that's not really up to you. That's up to the employers, the recruiters. And that's just, hoping that they'll give you fish to feed your family, as
mm.
opposed to taking responsibility for it.
Travis, if someone's listening today and they're literally at their job in their cubicle, and haven't been able to work at the bakery today, and they're like, I'm miserable because I don't smell anything yummy baking, and there's not new people around. I can't stand my boss. I don't know what to do. And they're not really sure what step to take. I mean, should they just quit their job and come home and listen to a podcast? What do you suggest for them to do, Travis?
So when you were talking earlier about like your husband and your perspective and how you'd be happy like living in a box, but if you're helping the world, I'm definitely not like you in that way. I'm probably more like your husband.
There,
And so
there's very few of us crazies like that.
well, I think some people, when they think about making like a career change or finding more happiness, they think that they have to make this big, massive, dramatic pivot in their life. And I think that I know that there's better ways to go about it that are safer, that are going to make you feel better financially. And, there's lots of different things we could talk about on that. But because people get so like caught up in this big grand pivot that they have to make, they just don't do anything.
Mm,
And so if you're in that position where you're feeling miserable, you're feeling unhappy, just do something that's going to, even if it's just a little baby step, that's going to step you in the right direction of starting to learn about yourself, starting to learn about, like we talked about, looking at your childhood, looking at what you want in your life, starting a new hobby, like do something that's going to provide new experiences and new insights into yourself.
mm.
And so whatever that is for you, whether big or small, just do something.
I mean, that's great advice, because how many times I look back on my life and think I wish somebody would have just said, Jessica, for the love of, just do something,
Yeah.
because I tend to be in my head a lot and overthink everything. And, but what if,
Yeah.
what if? And so I think doing something is a great way. I mean, I think the only thing that people think now is if they do something, then what they have the what ifs of, what if I fail? What if I don't like it? And I've finally gotten to the point where it's like, so what if I don't like it? Who cares? I'll find something else, and I'm sure I won't like that either. And then I'll find something I will like, right?
Yeah. Or ask yourself a better question and say, what if I do succeed?
Yes.
What if I do like it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I love so much of your story, and I love that I mean, in terms of the people that we've had on the show, you figured it out kind of early. So round of applause for you. How many people have been on the show that are like, I didn't know what I wanted to do till I was like 45, we're just figuring it out now. And so good for you for figuring that out, and also for being that space for other people to figure it out, to have that support, to have that, someone in their corner who's been there, of getting to that point of like, I hate this and I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And so I just love that you're doing that. If people want to connect with you, and I know you said you have a podcast as well, do you want to tell us a little bit about that, and also how people can connect with you and all of that, Travis?
For sure. Yeah. Thanks for asking. So my podcast is called The Everyday Worker, and you can find that on any podcasting platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. And the purpose of the whole podcast basically is to help you figure out what type of career path is going to be best for you. And so I bring people on that have all different kinds of career backgrounds from different industries. I've had physician assistants, I've had chiropractors, I've had an FBI agent, I've had graphic designers. So I've had people from lots of different industries, and it's gonna just continue to grow over time. And then there's also podcasts where it's me sharing more like career development related things. So not necessarily an interview, but more of sharing like how can you find what career path is right for you? How do you make that transition? How do you deal with other people who are opposing you? Those types of topics, and helping you to overcome those challenges you're inevitably gonna face if you're trying to go against the grain.
Yeah.
So check that out. It's super fun, super awesome. And if you want to find me, you can go to everydayworker.com to find my podcast there. You can find my coaching. I also have a free workbook that you can grab there. So that's at everydayworker.com. Or you can just go to everydayworker.com/workbook if you want to just grab that free workbook. And basically that workbook is 3 steps that goes over the things that we kind of talked about today. A lot of like looking at your past and what your interests have been over your life, especially in your childhood, planning for your future. What do you want in your future? And then how to get involved and get connected with people so you can start taking those little baby steps and do something.
Yes, do something. That's the big message today, everybody. Get up and do something. Make that move forward. Travis, thank you so much. I loved sharing your story, and I wish you nothing but success in creating your space to be the support for other people who are trying to find what am I going to be when I grow up, and around the world. I think you're doing amazing work, and thank you so much for sharing some space with me here today.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, we'll be back in just a minute for more of The Breakthrough Show. Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every month for exclusive programming, where we invite you to go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back to the Breakthrough Show. Big thank you to our special guest today, Travis Robinson. Make sure you guys check out the show notes for all of his information and how you can connect with him. Of course, after the show, you have to stick around for a little while first, because we're back now with our new friend, Troy Stone. I have just loved having you on today, getting to know you a little bit. One of the things that this is my juicy question that I've loved to ask entertainers that come on this season, because it gives me an idea of kind of what your style is, how you became the musician that you have. But so say a producer comes to you today, Troy, this afternoon, and says to you, we're going to make an album. It's going to be just duets. What 3 people do you want to duet with right now? Anybody, go.
Oh, but not like being put on the spot.
That's what we do.
The problem with me is music to me is like a buffet. I don't have one particular.
Got to pick 3.
John Bon Jovi.
Yes. Yes.
John Bon Jovi. I know that sounds weird, but yes, I want to duet with John Bon Jovi and not make a memory. But anyways, that was a Jovi song for those who don't know.
Yeah.
I've always melted when I heard this lady sing. And that's all it is. It's nothing else but and it's Gloria Estefan.
Yes. Yes. That's
She's
a good
just
one.
I got goosebumps saying that, So
She's one of my favorites.
Whoever the guys that sang "It's Raining Tacos." I don't know. Yum yum yummy yum.
Perry Grip, I think, is who that is. And don't ask me how I know that. It's because I have 6 children. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited to hear this one as well. So here to perform Nothing Without You is Troy Stone.
Another year goes by, I hate to say, afraid to face what I don't know. So I have my tears and I wear my smiles. Let my mind drift back to years ago, when I could laugh, when I could sing, when I thought I knew everything. Well, see her face and I know the truth. With every step I take, she's watching me. I am a hero, I'm bulletproof. So I reach inside and find the strength she needs. And with the prayer, we'll find our way to make it through this life together, day by day. You are the only reason left in this world. I have to smile, brighten the darkness of my lonely night. The love that you give is all quenching my every thirst and need. I would be nothing without you. A million diamonds could not outshine you. You hold the beauty to my soul. And when I've given up, you pull me through. Sent from the heavens, this I know. And with a prayer, you know we'll find our way to make it through this life together day by day. Because you are the only reason lived in this world I have to smile. You brighten the darkest of my lonely nights. Hear me? The love that you give is water, quenching my every thirst and need. I would be nothing without you. I mean it. I would be nothing without everybody. Na na na, na na na, na 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 na. Nothing without you. Na na na, na na na, na na na. Oh no, nothing without you. Na na na, na na na, na.
Beautiful. That's a sing-along one right there. I'll tell you what, that's a sing-along one.
When you do the na-na-nas, it tends to be.
I'll tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, you can go to a site called Reverb Nation. I'm sure you've heard that before. It's called Reverb Nation, and that's at Troy Stone, just Troy Stone. And I got tons of music there. Also, you can find me at Spotify, a couple songs on Spotify. I'm on Apple, iTunes, there's a couple on there. So just search my name, Troy Stone. There is another Troy Stone. He wears a cowboy hat. That's not me. I've never worn a cowboy hat. But and then also there's a really cool site. Go to YouTube, okay? YouTube.com/user/Troy's Madness. You can be there for days. I've got all my Slam and Sunday drum. I drum on there. I sing on there. So go check it out if you want to.
Well, of course we want to. We're gonna as soon as the episode is over, everybody's gonna go do that. All right, everybody, deal. That's what we're doing.
Subscribe right there. Make a fella feel good.
Yes, absolutely. Troy, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here today, my friend.
Pleasure is mine. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You taught me how to get on here.
Yeah. See, we're an educational show here as well.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it has been a fantastic episode today. I want to give a big thank you to our new friends, Troy Stone, and of course, Travis Robinson. As always, make sure that you check out the show notes where you can find all of the information about our guests, where you can find them, how you can purchase from them, connect with them, all of that fun stuff. All you have to do is go to thebreakthroughshow.com. So until next week, guys, I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I will encourage you, implore you even, to make every day a great day for a breakthrough. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Breakthrough. Please visit our website at www.thebreakthroughshow.com and be sure to join our app